My name is Brandi Winkleman, and I am the president of A-Hope in Milton, Florida. We have rats available throughout the year at different times. There's not really a season for rats because they can procreate every 23 days. So it just depends on whenever there are rats out there who need us as to when we have them. And whenever we have them, we don't have them very long. So they come from people who are moving or moved into a place and couldn't have their pets. All the same reasons that we get kittens into our care. It can be an owner surrender, or it can be from a shelter, and even as a stray. Rats are found typically after hurricanes or other natural disasters, roaming out free, and it's obvious that they don't belong out there because these are not wild rats. So if you ever see a brightly colored rat running around outside, it is not from that environment, and it needs to be rescued. I get asked this a lot about rats and whether they're great pets or not. And I'll tell you, they are such amazing pets because they are community animals, which are the best kind. They're animals who rely on the comfort of others, usually with others of their own species. And they also rely on their humans and their caretakers. So they can learn tricks, they learn their name. They're basically like having a puppy that you're training. You can teach them to use a litter box. You can teach them, they just naturally get excited when you come up to their cage, whenever you're getting home from work. They always want to socialize with you and be with you. They cuddle. They will sleep next to you. They are just really intuitive, very caring animals, and I think that people don't give them enough credit. Fancy rats are the product of someone in the past bringing a wild rat into their home, creating it as a household animal, as a fancy rat. I want to say it was a queen who had the first fancy rats, and that's how they got their name. And we kind of created that. We socialized them over time. Scientists have been experimenting on them forever because of their brain capacity, and we just made them the amazing pets that they are. The biggest downfall, I would say, with owning pet rats is their short lifespan. So along with everything else that we've done in order to make them more amazing pets, we've also created an animal who has a pretty short lifespan, which is beneficial to those scientists because they're living out their years quickly and they're going through this product testing, which we should not be doing on live animals anymore. But they're seeing kind of how it works and how the process works in a shorter time period. So their short lifespans are really, what'll break your heart after an amazing couple of years, and then to lose an amazing pet. I would say that's probably the biggest downfall. Rats can be altered, spayed or neutered, just like other animals can be. We don't promote it as much because they kind of have a different inner working inside of their body, so it's a little bit more difficult for veterinarians to spay a female rat. The same with a male rat. It's a little bit more difficult because they kind of have an open cavity inside, which of course your veterinarian can get more into with you. So it's a little bit more difficult, and it's not something that we promote because they live such short lifespans, and it's only really beneficial if you're trying to prevent some sort of testosterone issue, some sort of aggression issue. They can be neutered, the males can be neutered, and within a couple of months they can kind of calm down and be a little bit easier to deal with. So we just promote same-sex pair adoptions unless they came in as an individual. Then of course you'll still want to adopt them into a home that has the same sex in that home. And keeping them at least in pairs or trios of the same sex. Now you can have a neutered male with a couple of females, of course. That's the basics. There's no need to put them through that kind of surgery unless absolutely medically necessary. Whenever it comes to veterinary care for a rat, you definitely want to find a really good exotic pet veterinarian nearby. And we provide those type of resources on our website because we know that it can be a little bit difficult to find those things out. And those vets are going to be useful whenever it comes to things like tumors or major injuries, or of course end of life. You want to make sure that you have a place to go whenever your rat needs it. As far as annuals and as far as what they need on a regular basis, most rats don't need to see a vet unless they have something that is medically different than the normal everyday happenings. These are not wild rats. They are not rats that have some sort of disease or plague caused by fleas or whatever. These are indoor only fancy rats who were bred and raised inside of a home. And so they're typically very safe to have and don't carry diseases or anything like that. So veterinary care is going to be very, very basic when needed. Another question that we do get a lot is how to have rats in the same home as something perceived as a bad coexistence between other animals, such as cats and rats. Well, I can say the same thing about having a home that has cats and dogs. You see every cartoon where there's going to be cats and dogs, chasing each other around. Same thing with cats and rats. And I can tell you that rats are a lot larger than people think that they are. And I don't know what kind of cats would pick up these rats, but it seems like a really big challenge for them. And what you'll want to do is just make sure that you have a safe environment for your rats, safe away from other predators. Just like you give your cat a perch to get up onto whenever she wants to get away from the dogs, just like you have your bird inside of a cage, you wouldn't just leave them free roaming in the house with a bunch of cats running around. These are the same conditions that you're going to want to have to keep your pet rats safe. So honestly, it's not a concern. As long as you provide a safe habitat for each of your animals, then them coexisting is perfectly fine. All right, rats need a lot of space to roam around in. Some people even have rooms in their house where they get free roam areas so the rats can come out of their cages and interact and play. Rats need lots of interaction daily, and they need something large so they can be climbing inside of a cage. They can be checking things out. They need lots of toys, lots of things, because they're very intelligent animals. They need to be using that brain power on things. So there is certain cage requirements, size requirements for rats. They do not belong in these little hamster cages. They need something, if you look up a Critter Nation, they need either a single for just a couple of rats or a double for more than 4 to 6 rats. And it needs to be kept clean. They do not like to be dirty. These are not New York City runaround rats. These are domesticated house rats. And they like to be clean. They like it to be fresh food every day. They can eat anything just about. Of course, too much of one thing is always a bad thing. But keeping it clean and lots of space, just lots of environmental challenges and excitement going on. Whenever it comes to rodents, the biggest thing that I hear is that getting your child something like a rodent, like a hamster or a gerbil or something small like that it's just a cheap pet that you're just going to keep for a couple of years and they're going to learn about the circle of life and all this good stuff. Well, rats don't need regular veterinary care, but they do need lots of engagement. They do need lots of attention, and they chew everything. So that means you're going to be investing with a lot of pleasure behind it, investing lots of money into toys. We recommend like big parrot toys because it takes them longer to chew through with their tough teeth. Their teeth are always growing, so that's something that they need to gnaw on all the time. And they're gonna go through things. They're gonna just tear it up. You're gonna want to make it really colorful inside. If you look up pictures of people's rat cages, you'll find so many fun things to do with their rat cages. And that money that you would normally spend in another animal and maybe in your regular vet care, this is going to be an animal that you're going to be excited when you go to the store and you're going to say, oh my gosh, that's so cute, that's so fun, that's so pretty. I'm going to get that, and you're going to bring it home. They're going to go through blankets to chew through. So you will spend money. These are not cheap animals. So don't go into it thinking that it's just some cheap animal and you're going to get it for a low cost and then not going to have to do anything much with it. No, these are interactive animals who need lots of things, and you're going to want to buy them lots of things. So definitely prepare, do your research on rats. Um, don't just see a cheap or a free rat and take it in and think that they're not going to need much, because just like with every other animal, it doesn't matter what it costs to adopt that animal. What matters is the investment in their life and what you're going to put into them. And those things can add up, and they will add up if you love your animal.